All right, good afternoon, our dear viewers on Facebook and on YouTube. You're welcome. This is Ask Pastor Sunday show, and this is that unique show on DSS platform where every question, any question from anybody can be asked, and Dr. Sunday sits here to give answers to all of those questions. So I want to welcome you all once again from Kyiv, Ukraine. My name is Anu Ojo, and I'm your host on the Ask Pastor Sunday show. As you join us, I would like to encourage you to please go ahead and share this link, share it on your timeline if you're on Facebook, share it to the groups you belong, and you could suggest it to your friends. Why I like this show is because people ask different questions, and we are all human beings, and the interesting thing about it is that someone's question is also your question. And the answer to a person's question can also help you in one way or the other. And that's the reason why this show is, it's a very beneficial show, because you get to ask the Sunday a lot of questions that you might not necessarily be able to ask during his live shows. I mean, the 7 p.m. show, Kyiv time, or the 9 p.m. show. So that is the reason why I would like you to please go ahead and invite your friends. It would be great that people know that they have an opportunity to ask Dr. Sunday any question they have. Dr. Sunday is known widely as a very controversial person. And if you're controversial, your controversy raises questions in the minds of people. And I think one of the greatest things that Dr. Sunday has done is to give an opportunity for people to ask him questions. I mean, whatever question that you have, whichever question that you have, with his controversy and with anything he's talking about, you can ask him the question. And I mean, he's not going to shy away from it. He will give you his answers. So who else does something like this? It's Dr. Sunday. So I would like you to know that you can ask Dr. Sunday your question. If you're watching us live now, you have a special opportunity to send in your question while we are live, and we can get your questions, and I can ask Dr. Sunday your questions. That means for those of you who are watching this show right now and you're streaming live with us, you have that special opportunity to ask your question and get it answered during the live show. I mean, who wouldn't want to take advantage of that? So how can you ask your question? It's very easy. On the comment section, please type letter Q. It's important you type letter Q before you ask your question, as this is the only way we would be able to sieve out your question from other comments. So on the comment section on Facebook and on YouTube, please ask your question, and I will be able to go there and get your questions out. And if you like to call into the studio, you can do that by going to Facebook Messenger and search for Move Agent. Search that on Facebook Messenger and write to us that you would like to call into the studio to ask a question or to contribute to a question asked, because that's something also that people don't know, that people ask questions, and you as a viewer, you could actually contribute to the question. You could give your opinion to the question. I remember there was a question that someone asked about Catholic and all of that, and Dr. Sunday shared his view, and we had a caller who called in to give another opinion, and because that person had an experience. So that's what you can do as a viewer. You can call into the studio and share your own opinion, share your own thoughts about the question that has been asked to Dr. Sunday. Well, and like I said, you can do that by writing us, going to Facebook Messenger, search for Move Agent, and ask your question.
And call.
And call in. Yeah. So write to us.
Write in the comment, but call.
Yeah, you can write in the comment, and you can also call in to the studio.
Bye.
Yeah, through writing us on Facebook Messenger, Move Agent, that you would like to call in, and we will call you. So welcome again, guys. Welcome for those of you who are just joining us. This is the Ask Dr. Sunday show. And we are set with the questions. We have some questions already, and you can also ask your questions. All right, so I've come to that point where I'm going to introduce to you no other person but Dr. Sandei Adelaja to the show. Good afternoon, sir.
Yep, blessings.
Thank you, sir. Well, this is another Ask Pastor Sunday show, and we have questions for you. And I'm sure you are always ready. So, we are going to start with the first question. Do we have a question? Okay. So, this is someone asking, the person says, "Sir, how do I undo my in-laws? They seem to want to take control of my marriage. I want to make decisions for me and my husband."
That would not be possible if you are living with them. That will also not be possible if they are supporting you. So you will only be able to be independent of your in-laws if you have proved to them that you are mature enough and you are grown up enough to be able to live your own life. But if you are still mainly or majorly dependent on their resources or on their house or wherever they are, whatever they are giving you, then you will not be able to do it. It will be a problem in that sense. So for you to be independent of your in-laws, you have to be independent yourself. You have to be truly independent financially. You have to make sure you are not living under them. And then if they are not supplying you anything, you don't depend on them anyhow, then then the next other thing you need to be independent is to have to come in agreement with your spouse, to have one language and to speak with one language, to agree, to be one. If you have that, then nobody will be able to interfere or intervene in your family affair. But also, that doesn't mean you shouldn't honor your in-laws. You should honor them, because if not for them, you will not have your spouse. So always remember to honor them, but not to give them the control over your family.
Interesting. So thank you so much, Pastor. So what will you advise to someone who is presently going through maybe this situation where the person doesn't have that dependence and things like that, that you talked about? Maybe the person is still maybe living in the house, and maybe due to several situations the person can get out. But what would you advise the person who has not gained that independence?
That's exactly what I've said. If you have not gained that independence, then go and gain the independence. Otherwise, you have to cope up with the fact that they will keep on intervening. And you have to discipline yourself and humble yourself until you become independent.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Well, there you have it. If you are in that situation right now, the best thing you can do right now is to try to get your dependence on yourself. Get your independence actually, or cope with it until you're able to get that. And I think I definitely agree with that, because if you're independent, you're not relying on them on anything, then they shouldn't control you. But Dr. Sandey ended it that you should honor your in-laws, because without them, you won't have your spouse. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sandey. We'll be going to the next question. So let's read that before I make some other announcement. Dr. Adelaja, what do you have to say about your followers who are very insultive and abusive? Is this what they learn from you? I needed to address this because some of your followers are even worse than the followers of those pastors you condemn.
Okay. All right. First of all, what I condemn in the pastors is not their character much or their personal lives. What I condemn in the GOs and the leaders is their doctrines and their practices that are doctrinally wrong. And that is in line with the book of Ephesians that says that don't be a part of the works of darkness, but expose them. And that if anybody, a leader or prophet, is talking, that other people who are listening, that is in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 19, other people who are listening should judge what they are hearing. So God commands us to judge, and that's why I'm judging you know, those people, those, not judging them as individuals, but I'm judging their words. I mean, their doctrines, Now, concerning the question that you ask, that my followers, some of my followers, they are insultive, and they are even more worse than the followers of those other people. When people talk about this, they are normally referring to either Mayowa or Raphael, but mainly Mayowa. Okay, there are two ways to answer this question. Number one is that I'm working on them. And if you notice, you will see that I have even done a video where I say, stop insulting pastors. Stop insulting pastors. I have a video like that. If you go to YouTube and search Sandei Adelaja insulting pastors, you will see it there. So I'm working on them. Now, so why is it that I don't just shut them up? So let's say I have Mayowa who is close to me and she's using language that I personally would not use. Why won't I just go ahead and stop that? Number one, I have to weigh the benefits and the good part of what she is doing as against the negative part, the negative things that I might not like personally, and that people might not like also, like might be discouraging to people. So let's say that the insults and the name calling or the insults are the things that are discouraging and that are the negative. I see that those negative things are probably about 10 to 15%, but 85% or 90% of what she is doing are actually things that are right, things that are correct. So that will stop me from outrightly putting off the whole thing she's doing, because then that will be putting off throwing away the baby and the bath water. Now then somebody will ask me and say, is it not the same thing I am doing with the pastors? When I say there are no pastors and no churches in Nigeria, apart from the remnants, that there are no churches in Nigeria, am I not doing the same thing, throwing away the baby and the bath water? And it's a little bit different here, because the pastors are teaching doctrinal truth that make people to become enslaved to them. They are actually controlling the destinies of people. In this case, Mayowa is more coming like an individual, like a citizen that is talking about the things that are wrong. So it's a little bit different. Now, but let me continue saying why. First of all, you should know that I'm working on it. So I'm working on my disciples that are not using the right words. I'm working on them not in the way that some of you will expect. I'm working on them through tolerance. I'm working on them through patience. I'm working on them through understanding and love as well. And also telling you the ranges that I use, like the one I just gave. One of the parameters is that, okay, what is the percentage of the evil in that wrong name calling or insults that they use? So that's one argument, that by the time they keep on going and they keep on working, they are working on them as characters as well, and they are also going to improve. And let's say Mayowa, for example, when I see there is another factor why I'm not stopping her, is because first of all, she's a person of her own. Then some of you will say, but you are giving her the platform, so you should take responsibility. Yes, that's why I'm saying why I'm not stopping her. So the reason is because I remember when I met Mayowa and she wanted to greet me on my birthday. I think she was still in London that time, and I mean, it took her like 3 days before she could do 3 minutes video to congratulate me for my birthday. And then even that video was just quick to quickly finish. And when she was here, she was not able, when she came here, she was not even able to talk on the camera. Well, what she started to do was to just shoot people. And so going from where she was to where she is right now, I can see a lot of progress. So will I rather, because of the insults or because of the things that she's saying that is not palatable to some people, will I rather shut her down and get her back to where she used to be? I think no. So I think I would rather keep on working like that until she overcomes that, the way she had overcome the shyness and the intimidation of camera. She will also overcome that character, that name calling. Now, another thing I personally am considering as a leader is that, let me talk about Mayowa herself. She is using that language because that is more familiar to her from where she's coming from. So the foul language and the insultive language or abusive language, the way people call it, that might be more our old self, our former self, that she's coming from the past. And that is the way she grew up in England. She went to school there. So she probably caught those words from relating in that environment. I don't know those even words that she's using, but some people know it. But then this is another factor. So I've got to say that is her personality. That's what I'm trying to say. So her personality might be insultive to the African audience that she's talking to a large amount of them. But another factor here that does not allow me to do anything too much or drastic about Mayowa's situation is that, let's face it, even though Africans might not like that language, and I think it's not proper to do that, it's not Christian, because Jesus said that if you shouldn't call anybody fool, or if you call anybody fool, you'll be in danger of hellfire. And if you call anybody stupid, what was the other one? Raka or foolish, that you'll be in danger of hell. So I'm sure it's not Christian, because Jesus is against it. So since it's not Christian to do that, so I cannot be in agreement with it. But why am I tolerating it? Let me give you another factor. Another factor is that even as much as we say it's not Christian and it's not African, but you see, I want you to do something for me now. Do me a favor. This video that you are seeing right now, we are live. Go and look at the corner there. See the live, the red live something, inscription, and tell me how many people are watching right now. 10, 20, 30,
48.
40, 50, maximum 100. Well, that's me. I'm not using that language or that foul language. You see, we are using the normal language, the one that you like, the one that Christian language. That's what I and Anu here are using. And what we're able to attract is that 40 or 50 people, right? But with the language that she's using, see how many people are gravitating more towards her. When she will come right after me, so come, it's an experiment. Just even if you don't normally watch her, please, I ask a request for you. This one, after this one finishes, please stay back a little bit, maybe about 10, 15 minutes more, and watch her, okay? See how many people will be watching her. So, would I now say it's totally bad? Is it really as bad? Because it's the figures and you cannot fight against a fact. The figures are facts, and you cannot fight against the fact. So the figures prove to me that even our own language is more effective than my own language. And that as much as there are people who are complaining that they don't like, but there are more people who are not complaining. Or there are much more people who gravitate towards her and towards our style of addressing the issue. So that is another reason why I would not be in a hurry to put a stop to what Mayowa is doing. Because she has her followers, she has people to whom that is not a It's not a
problem, it's not a stumbling block.
What is what I'm looking for? That is not
hindrance.
That is not an hindrance. I'm looking for another word. That's not an hindrance. It's not an hindrance. So, and they follow her, and they hear her using that word, but they still appreciate what she's saying to them. So, for some reason, something is working for her, and since it's working for her, and the people who are following her are not against, it means that everybody have their own audience. Okay, now let's take it the other way and say, okay, even though people are following her, am I not the one who say it's not about crowd? Yes, I always say it's not about crowd. But in this particular case, even though it's not about crowd, but let's look at it this way. If I make her to be using my own language and to be doing things like exactly the way I do it, then what will happen is that she will end up having just those same 30, 40 people who are watching me, watching her. So what will happen to all those other 200, 300, 500 people who are watching her? She might have 500 people watching her today. So that 500 people, they will just disappear. And it will only be I will have the same 40 people, she will have the same 40 people. So where are you people who are cultured? Huh? I can see you following me who is not using foreign language. Where are you people who are Africans? I can see you people following me. So I don't have the authority in that sense to go and stop what she's doing. So that is, I don't know how many number I've already given. I'm giving so many facts so that you will see I'm looking from different angles and different dimensions. So let me tell you another reason why I'm not in a hurry to stop, especially Mayowa, from using the language and the style. We may address normal. Using the style and the language she's using. Why am I not stopping now? I think this is the final point I want to make. I think actually that God in his wisdom is allowing Mayowa to use that language and to have the personality she is having and to have the language, to be using the language she's using. Wow, how can God ever allow that? Well, because God is wiser than us. And because God understands what we don't understand. Because not just because of the figures and the amount of people who are listening to her, but let me tell you why. I think there is a lot of wisdom from the viewpoint of God, as I see it. This is the way I see it right now. Why God will allow Mayowa to use that kind of language against these GOs and pastors. The reason is because these pastors have been elevated to the position of gods of men. A lot of them have been elevated to the position of dominance and to the position of deity, whereby you dare not talk to them, or you dare not challenge them, you dare not talk about them, you dare not touch them. There is even a quotation that they use to manipulate people like that. Touch not my anointed. Touch not my anointed. And that touch not my anointed has actually become a principality in our culture. So that principality has to be broken. And for principalities to be broken, you cannot break them in a nice way. So I think God has allowed and has raised up people like Mayowa and Raphael to break principality. What do I mean break principality? Well, you can now, let's talk about these members of churches who are looking at Pastor Adeboye, for example, or Olukoya or Oyedepo as gods. Like, for example, look at what Pastor Oyedepo did. How can you be looking at him as a god when he is taking a satire writing and saying, using it as an authority for people to be praying and to be, spreading rumors and lies and doing that in a way that is just horrible. He's not listening to God. So people are looking at him as a deity, but when Mayowa comes and brings facts and then calls them name, that is breaking something in the mind of those people who are following them. That is making those people who are following them to know that, no, these people are really just human beings. That look at ordinary girl, not even a pastor like them, but an ordinary girl, calling them names, putting them down, using any language, and their God couldn't even do anything. And even these GOs with their anointing, nothing happened. Now, touch not that my anointing is not working. So that is an instrument to break the principality and the deception of touch not my anointing and my anointed in the minds of people. So indirectly, God is using people like Mayowa and a language to break something in the air, in the atmosphere, and things in the minds of people, to break that principality that these people are gods. That is one. Secondly, I think God is using the kind of personality like Mayowa and the language by calling them names, by putting them down. She is removing them from the high throne from where they have been placed. She is removing the crown from their head to make them become usual, ordinary men and, and women like all of us, who are susceptible to sin, who are susceptible to fallibility, who are susceptible to weaknesses, who are susceptible to mistakes. That people should stop worshiping them. So actually, God might be using people like Mayowa to destroy the spirit of idol worshiping in our culture, not just in the church, but in our culture as a whole. And another thing that I think God is using the language of Mayowa and our style to do for the Nigerian church, which we are not appreciating now, which we might later appreciate in years to come, is that by listening to her, challenging, calling names, and calling these people by their names and using foul words for them, and not putting them down, she is removing their invisibility, that people look invisible, that they are invincible, that they are like their
sacredness,
that they are sacred and invincible, that they are untouchable, that they are some invincible people. They are like ghosts, like that they are, like they are celestial beings. Yeah. That invincibility is being unveiled and destroyed. And that is necessary for us to be able to raise up people who are under them. Because that invincibility is what they use to captive people. That invincibility is what they use to enslave people. And that invisibility is what is bringing people into fear. And that is another thing that God is using people like Mayowa to really to address. God is using someone like Mayowa and a language to break the spirit of fear in the people who have been under the captivity and the bondage of these people. Yeah. And people who are following them have fear of them. And God said we shouldn't fear people, we should fear God. We should only fear God. So by bringing that example of not fearing them, by bringing that defiance, by defying them, by the defiance of not fearing them, is also liberating even you who don't like what she's doing. Even you people who might be angry at what she's using, at the language she's using, who might be thinking she's insulting, she's abusing, who might not be angry at her even. Why you are angry at her? You are getting deliverance. You are getting deliverance yourself. Like, knowing that, because it's going into your subconsciousness, and in your subconscious you are aware that nothing happened to this girl. How can she do it? And she's doing it. She dares to tread where angels dare not tread, and nothing is happening. So maybe those people are not angels. Maybe they are not gods. Maybe they are not deity, and they are not. So I see a lot of wisdom of God in what is happening, and I'm very sensitive to, I know what is right, I know what is wrong, but I'm also very sensitive to know how I respond to what is wrong or right. Not because she's just under me. For example, Daddy Freeze is not under me. She's not under me, actually. I don't have anybody under me. She has her own ministry. But because we are friends, and she's, my co-worker here, but Daddy Freeze is not. So even if she would not be the one using that language, maybe Daddy Freeze will, or somebody else that I would not have authority to be able to even tell. But God will still use his own way, and the people in the way that we don't always put in charge, and we are not always in control. So I don't want to become a God also. Even in my own house here, even with my staff. I don't want to become somebody that just comes to to tell somebody else who is a free person, who is an individual and a personality. I can only advise. I cannot just come and say, you cannot do this, stop doing this. I can only advise. And I've been advising. But I know that I cannot make things happen in my own strength. I can only keep on working with patience, with love, and allow God and to take his due course, and allow him, and why that due course is being taken, God is also using it for good. God is also using it to set people free. God is also using it to even help these other people that they are calling names, so that they too will wake up one day and realize that we are just humans also at the end of the day.
Oh, wow. DSA.
It's like you are ecstatic.
You know, there's a video that was very viral on YouTube.
I think somebody needs to cut this answer.
Definitely, we have to cut this answer. This is just, I mean, my one will understand later. Well, you know, there's a guy that ran, a Nigerian athlete, he was interviewed when, I think during the heat, and he said, they asked him how was he able to do it, and he said he never experienced it, that it was a surprise to him. So that's the same thing, that I never experienced this answer. For you to speak like this, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it to actually like take it this way and like deal with it, break it down. I know, thoroughly. And I think this is,
you know what?
I know that you are a thorough person. And I know that when you want to answer a question, you answer it. But for this question, I didn't know you were going to take it in that light. And I mean, I'm reading the comments on Facebook, and people they're really excited about what you just said. So someone even commented and said, I even love Mayowa more than I love DSL. Like, I love listening to Mayowa.
You see, is that not the confirmation of what I just
said?
Yes.
Yeah, the person said I really love listening to Mayowa even more than DSL.
You see?
And that's
so what should we do to those people? Cut them off? And the figures confirm that.
Yeah. I mean, so profound. We have to cut that part, really. Yeah, because it really gives, you really give a lot of points, a lot of, I mean, anyone who wants to reason and wants to just sit down and think and just look at what was said, I mean, the person wouldn't have any issues with Mayowa doing what she's doing.
Yeah, we really need to cut it, because questions like this come to me every single day. Every single day. So now I will just take the video
and just
send it to them. I'll just be sending it. I'll just go and look for why Pastor Sandei is not stopping
Mayowa.
No, not just Mayowa, but his disciples from insulting people.
Yeah. That's going to be a great one.
So we'll just be sending it to everybody. The answer don't they. The thing they.
So some of our viewers, I mean, they're really excited. So someone is saying, when you say, Dr. Anu, can you please up DSA for us?
You should come and
I'm sure
that's a woman.
Well, this is not actually a woman, no.
It's not a woman.
I don't think it's a woman.
It's the woman that wants to hug you.
Actually, it's a woman. Yeah. Double P. Yeah.
Okay, it should be a woman that wants to hug now.
Yeah. They're really excited. I think these are diehard fans of Mayowa, and they're like. We need
they
to
like the answer.
Yeah.
But even you, who is not a diehard fan, why you are sitting here shocked?
No, I'm so excited because. You know, interestingly, myself and Mayowa, we've had this discussion a lot of times, and we even had it recently, like maybe 2 days ago or yesterday.
Always agree.
Yeah, we're talking about it, that why people having on, and she was also proving a point, and I was presenting my opinion to her about it. Yeah, I'm particularly happy that this is actually addressed. I mean, Mayowa had a whole discussion with some people about this whole.
Is that so?
Yeah. So I think this is so refreshing, because even she wouldn't have to even talk so much about it anymore.
She just needs to send the video. She will just need to send the video.
Just say, okay, just listen to this video.
Then come back to me.
And then come back to me if you have any problem. So this is so good. Wow, amazing. Guys, you see why I said this show is a show that people have to, to know that we're having a show like this where Dr. Sandei answer questions, because people have been asking Dr. Sandei this question. I'm sure he has been answering it one way or the other, but that's why we have the Ask Dr. Sandei show. That is why this show is here, you see. This show is here to give answers to this kind of questions. If you have any question you want to ask.
But what aspect of it that really got you?
Yeah, okay, for me, there are many parts, but let me just, because of time, I'm going to bring out the concluding part where you were talking about the wisdom of God in what she's doing. And in that, God perhaps is allowing her to speak with that kind of language because of the liberty and the freedom that
God wants to set people free.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't matter what method. you just said
anyhow
it.
God wants to do it. You understand? From this bondage of fear, of these
And
people
hero worship.
and hero worship. You understand? I mean, there are examples of people who have said it. I mean, there was a lady who is pretty close to us who said when she used to watch Maiwa doing this show, she used to just be like, "Hey,
Omo ye."
where is the mother of this child? Where are the parents? Let them, because she was
Let them warn her.
let them wonder. She was even afraid
For her.
herself. But now, that woman,
He's a diehard follower.
she's not just diehard follower. She's also bashing. She's not even taking it. She's bashing these men of God, bashing all of these people. So it's, I believe strongly that's a major, and that I was excited about that point that you said, because that is actually the wisdom of God. I mean, if God will speak with a donkey, through a donkey, to communicate a message,
And she's breaking the fear.
and she's breaking it big time.
Fear, yeah, in an intimidation.
Yeah, she is really breaking that fear. I mean, and not just her, but every other person who is speaking. Yeah, because not just her, but there are, I mean, people who are having shows every day. I mean, there's no day that would go without people from this platform or people who are just raising up these topics and just, I mean, speaking against the wrong practices and doctrines and breaking that mental bondage and mental slavery. So, I mean, it's a very good one. And thank you, DSA, for giving that in-depth and explicit.
Yeah, because when I was giving the answer,
Yeah.
I was looking at different categories of people and what truth in my answer will relate to
them.
different. So I was going from the most sensitive of all people
Yeah.
who might be offended most. I was going from that then to the level of people who actually know what is happening.
Great. Well, there's a comment from one of our viewers. His name is Joel. He's saying Maiwa has demystified the gods.
Hey, is that not what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's exactly the point I was making, that God allowed that to happen in his wisdom because it's going to demystify these gods.
Yeah.
These gods of men.
Yeah.
You see, that's a confirmation.
That's a
right
confirmation right there.
Yeah.
I just saw that Maiwa has demystified the gods. So, well, go.
Go, girl.
Go. Amazing. All right. So please just be aware that you can call into the studio to give your contribution, to ask your question. And if you also have a question to Dr. Sandey, you can do that by writing us here by typing letter Q. And also, if you want to be anonymous and you don't want anybody to know you're the one asking the question, you could go to sundayadelajablog.com/ask. sundayadelajablog.com/ask. You can send in your questions there too. By that, we wouldn't know who is asking the question, all right? So, well, we have more questions. I would like to continue with the next question. All right. Okay, next question. We've asked this question. We've asked it.
Slide the share, of course.
Slide the share.
That's all your bill. Yes.
All right. So, hello, DSA. With your recent activities on Facebook about the election, especially your anti-campaign for Atiku, I read a lot of comments that you are paid to campaign for Buhari. Is it true? As a pastor, is it God that is directing you to do this?
Okay. First of all, am I paid to do what I'm doing by campaigning for Atiku? Against Atiku. So am I paid to campaign against Atiku? Am I paid to campaign for Buhari and APC? Well, I've answered this so many times. Number one, I would not be campaigning for APC because they have not impressed me with their results. I would not be supporting Buhari because they have done lower than I expected. But when the choice is between Buhari and Atiku, I will not just support Buhari, but I will fight hard so that Atiku will never be elected as the president of my country. And it's my right to do that as a citizen. And so the other question is, okay, have I been paid? Do I look like somebody that could be bought? Do I really look like somebody that could be bought by anybody? Do you think there is any amount of money that anybody could pay me for my position or to manipulate me? Who do you think you are dealing with? Then go and read my biography. Go and read my history, my story. I have fought Putin in Russia. I have fought communism. I have fought, Marxist, Leninist philosophies. I have challenged a whole nations of superpower. A superpower. I have personally raised 200 millionaires in US dollars. I have, in this country, I was having 100,000 people following me who are members of my church. I have mayor, the governors, members of my church, members of parliament, senators. I have gone to Japan and made Japanese senators to stand on their knees before God, weeping and crying, receiving Christ. I have done the same thing in the Senate of Knesset of Israel. I have gone to UN and made ambassadors of over 100 countries weep. Nigeria is too small compared to where I'm coming from. Nigeria is too insignificant. Nobody, nothing in Nigeria could impress me at all. Everything I do for Nigeria is just a sacrifice, just for you to know. Everything is a sacrifice. I am hurting myself to take a stand to speak for Nigeria. Anything I'm doing regarding Nigeria, I'm losing every day. It's costing me high. Not that I'm going to be paid. Nobody can pay me from Nigeria. It's not just I'm not being paid. I am losing everything. I am spending too much. So the thing that I'm being paid is insultive. But on the other hand, is it God that told me to do what I'm doing? No, God didn't tell me to go and fight Atiku. God didn't tell me to go and support APC. It is my conscience that is telling me to do what I'm doing. And it is the truth that is telling me to do what I'm doing. Also, it is common sense that is telling me to do what I'm doing. I'm a person of common sense from God's perspective. I'm a person of truth and justice. I'm a person that lives from inside out by conscience. I'm not a person that's controlled from what is coming from outside in, but I live from inside out. I'm a person of convictions. Those are the things that are making me to do what I'm doing. There is no way I will see the facts on the ground, and the facts on the ground are the fact that, number one, for the past 6 years, the past 6 years before Buhari came to power, the PDP government, where Jonathan was the president, for 4 years, and then 2 years when the other guy, Adelaja, was there. That 6 years, they made 383 billion from oil alone. Nigeria made, that is the highest amount of money Nigeria ever made. Can you imagine? The GDP of Nigeria is 500 billion. All Nigeria economy is 500 billion. But 300, and that is before they came. But when they were there, they made almost the same amount of money, equal to the GDP of Nigeria in 6 years. The amount of money they made alone in the 6 years they were there is equal, almost equal, 80% of the whole GDP of Nigeria. And no road was finished. No bridge was completed. No railway was constructed. No new city was. You see, if you go to Dubai, you know the tallest building in the world is costing. It was built for like, was it 2 billion something, or 4 billion or something, maybe less than 5 billion. We could have built Dubai. We could have built cities like Dubai in every region of Nigeria with the money that only came in during Jonathan time. And nothing to show. At the same time, when they were making that 383 billion, you know what was happening? They were having no money in the pocket. 383 billion in 4 to 6 years, and they didn't even have money to do road, to build hospital, and they didn't have money not just to build road and hospital, they didn't even have money to do anything, so much that they had to go and borrow. They were borrowing at the same time to pay salaries. And you want to tell me to support that PDP to come back? You want to tell me to support that PDP to come back? I have too much sense to do that. I have too much common sense to do that. I have too much conscience to do that. And I'm too committed to the truth and justice to make that happen. Besides them borrowing, so the 386 or 83 billion, we don't know. No account for it. No, it's not accounted for. Disappeared. But apart from that, before they came in, Obasanjo was there, and Obasanjo was able to accrue $60 billion in the reserves, in the foreign reserves of Nigeria. Even that one, apart from the 383 billion that they squandered, they went into the reserve.
Child. No.
And depleted the 60 billion that one put there. By the time this new government came, it was only 20 something that was left. So that's why the foreign reserves fell. That's why our money fell. We think it fell because of Buhari. No, it is because of what they did. You know, people in Nigeria now are complaining that we have economic recession, we have poverty, but it's because of what they did. It is what was done yesterday. There is cause and effect. If you're having an effect right now, it's not because of what you are doing right now. Sure. It's because of what was done before now. It is what the effect of what these people are doing now will only be felt in the next 3, 4, 5 years. True. But what we are feeling now is the effect of what the people who are there before have done. True. I am a thinking person. If people are calling me fools, I'm reading their comments. They are calling me fools, stupid, all these kind of names. I'm hearing them. But I will not allow people who are less informed to come and rule over me who is better informed. Can you imagine that? Let me give you another statistic. For capital development, we have recurrent expenditure, then we have capital expenditure. So capital expenditure during the time of all those 6 years, you know, for road construction and infrastructure construction, is only 18 billion they put there to build road and for works and roads and infrastructure, for everything. 18 billion is what they put. Not dollars, naira. Is what they put for the 6 years. That's their budget for something, and they don't even spend it. But this one alone, this is the first government that they put 385 billion to spend, and they are getting it. And the money, the income that is coming, the money that is coming in from oil now is 3 times less than the money that was coming in before. So the money reduced, the income reduced 3 times, but the budget that these people are doing is 2 times, almost 2 times more than the budget. So from the 380 something billion, they are not even doing budget. It's not even going to the budget. These ones are making 3 times less money, and their budget is 2 times the one that were making 3 times more money.
That's just common sense.
I mean, and you want them to come back? I would say, so other people are saying, why am I then not supporting other people? Why is it I'm not supporting, for example, today I have Mo Galu coming at 5 o'clock, British time, and 6 o'clock Nigerian time, 7 o'clock Ukraine time. We have Kingsley Mo Galu going to be here on the program with me. I'm going to interview him. So why is it I'm not campaigning for him? Why is it that I'm not campaigning for Showore? Why is it that I'm not campaigning for other people that I believe in? I believe in them, but I'm not campaigning for them because they cannot win. I'm not stupid. Campaigning for them will mean that I should put all my energy, somewhere that it's not going so that, Atiku will win. No, my focus right now is that those people who destroy the country will not come back again to come and keep on their destruction. And I've already spoken about Atiku. Why I would not allow him, because I have an article I've written on that. I have a video I've done on that. So I will not even talk about that. But I'm saying why I'm campaigning and supporting. I would rather that Buhari will remain, because what they are doing is makes much more sense. Is they are on the right path? Yeah. Are they perfect? Of course they are not perfect. Yeah, I just told you in the beginning that I'm not satisfied by their record. But compared to what we had, it's still much better than that. And they're on the right path. I would rather let them remain until the young people are ready to win an election than support the ones that are destroying the country.
Wow. Well, I mean, today's Ask the Sunday show is, I think
we need to cut this one out.
We have to cut it. I've already decided that definitely will happen. Yeah, because, a lot of less informed people who are just making decisions based on temporary things that are happening now, and they don't have all of these details that you said. And I think this video has to also go as viral as your video on why you're not going to vote for Atiku, because people need to know exactly where you're coming from. They just think, DSA is not in Nigeria, and people always say that you're not at home, you're not here in Nigeria, so you don't know what is happening, you don't know what we're suffering, and there are people who are poor and things like that. But I mean, I like the fact that you said that this is not even God who is telling you to vote. It's just common sense, just by virtue of the information that you have, and just applying logic, just common sense, and with all of the facts that you've proved. I mean, it's just simple. With the law of cause and effect, if something is happening today, it's not because of what you're doing today. What you're experiencing today is because of what was done yesterday. So if Nigeria is experiencing all of that, it's because of what the people who were there before did, and that's why we're going through what we're going through now in Nigeria today. And if you want to blame this government, give them some years and let's see what will happen after, so we'll see the effect of what they are doing today. But yes, I mean, it's really an insult for anyone to say that you are paid. That's just the truth. And you put it out there, you made it so clear that, I mean, you're even losing more, or you're sacrificing more than anyone would want to pay you money. And we really want to appreciate you. Thank you so much for your answer. Thank you for being, once again, very forthright. Anyone who is listening to you would really see that you really have a passion for Nigeria, and for what you have done, what you've achieved personally, for you to decide to go to Nigeria and begin to do all of this. I mean, that's a huge sacrifice for anyone who can think and anyone who can apply logic to all of these things. And well, dear viewers,
they say we have callers.
We have a caller. All right, so I think if we have a caller, it will be good for us to have a caller, because we have less than 5 minutes now. Well, this is really Ask Dr. Sandey show, and I'm excited. I'm excited because these are questions that people are asking and people need answers to. And the questions that were asked today were very spot on. Dr. Sandey gave great answers to them. And we have a caller now who would like to give a contribution. Hello, caller.
Hello, good morning, Dr. No and DSA. This is Choma Para speaking.
Yes, hello. How are you, my dear?
Oh, thank you so much,
Zion.
DSA. I love you.
Thank you. Love you, my dear.
Oh, you're a man of wisdom. You are too much. I love you so much, honestly, you know. Concerning Mayowa thing, man, Mayowa has made us bold. We are bolder than ever before because listening to her, people are, like the book you wrote, insulted by ungodliness.
Yes.
Only watching it will make you to start, in fact, insulting them because they made themselves. I love Mayowa. I love her. Let her. She will continue what she's doing. God is using her to bring them down.
Amen.
They've not seen anything. They have not seen anything. More people will arise like Mayowa.
Yes.
I know some of us are like holding back. You know, when I came back from HMT, they had a meeting for me. They gathered. They were like, when they start talking on YouTube, I say, you people have not seen anything. If we want a change, we must sacrifice ourselves. You have sacrificed yourself. You don't even care. You have told them you are dead already. You don't care.
Yes.
You want the world to change. And people don't understand. What are they talking about? You being paid for? You paid for what? I had a friend who used to listen to you. He said, I will not listen to this again because of he's talking about politics. I said, but we have to be involved. If you don't speak out, the world will not change. We will not say because you are Christian, we'll keep quiet. We need to talk. DSA, I love you. Knowing you has made me to stand the ground. I want to be involved and be a part. I'm moving about. I want to change the world I am in.
Yes.
You have opinion. You have to talk. You are a man of justice. The Bible said he has shown us, all man, what is good and what is required of us. To love, to show justice. How can Nigeria be better if we don't look into all these things? People, Nigerians, they don't have patience. They don't even look at. They want to eat now. They want to eat tomorrow's food today. That's what Nigerians are doing. They want to eat tomorrow's food today, and they will just die like that. See how Nigeria is, and they like it. DSA, carry go. Carry go. God is with you. Carry go. God is with you. You are doing the right thing.
Thank you.
I don't know what people are saying. It's their business. Let them talk. But it's a time alone will tell. It's just time. Things will get better, and I know it. I believe in your dream about Nigeria, and I so much deep in my heart, I know that change will come.
Amen.
In your lifetime, not when you will not. We will all see it.
Amen. Amen.
That vision you have for Africa, for Nigeria, it will happen. I can see it very well. Every day I dream about it, and I believe in your word. I believe what you are doing, and it is happening. That's people's business. Whether they are talking, they are paid, talking rubbish, that's their own. But all I know, because devil will always raise up people that talk nonsense. But things will happen because you believe in it. Because God has raised you, it will happen. It will come to pass. I believe it so much.
Thank you, Chioma. Thank you.
Carry go.
Thank you so very much.
God bless you.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Chioma. Thank you for calling. Thank you so much. Well, nothing can stop this reformation. Nothing can stop what God is doing. What is happening actually is not coming from this earth. It is coming from above. And I mean, if you know the scripture that says whatsoever it comes from above is above all. So that's exactly what is happening today. And well, I think the best thing you can do is to catch on the train and join us. I don't know, we have another caller, right? Okay, so hello, caller.
Hello, good afternoon from Nigeria, Lagos.
Oh, wow. Who is calling?
That sounds like Israel.
My name is Israel Gunis Balogun.
Wow, Israel. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
We dey hear you now.
I'm calling from Lagos, and then I really want to say I live in that country that you are talking about, sir, and I can understand your pain. Of course, some people that even live in this country don't know what you are talking about. They don't. They don't even know what you are talking about. They believe that. I don't know how else to explain to people. Somebody can come up online and say, "Were you paid?" I'm not surprised, really. And the reason why I'm not surprised is that all of them, all of their pastors, they are being paid. They collect money. We know that they were paid 2 billion in last election for them to campaign against Buhari that is coming to Islamize Nigeria. We know that. So I'm not surprised that somebody will be thinking that someone is trying to say this is the right way to go. If anyone is no longer speaking in their favor, he is being paid. I am in this country. I have been in this country, I've been part of politics that are going on, starting from campus to local government to state level. Wherever I live, I'm part of the politics movement. And I know how people are suffering now, and the suffering we are facing now, to be honest with you, if Buhari has not taken power, we may be in war by now. The man was able to come in and salvage timely war. Reason is very simple. These people embezzle and they hurt everything that Nigeria had. They shared it among themselves, leaving the treasury empty. The man came in and was able to save Nigeria from war. But they thought he is the one that is putting Nigerians into this problem. When the money was flowing around, everybody were renting house. People are renting house in Nigeria with dollars. People are paying for apartments in dollars in our own country. When all those things were happening, nobody is complaining, nobody is asking them. When the Minister of Finance then was shouting that we need to save, and the governor was saying, share the money, nobody is asking them questions. Why did you share the money? Why were you not saving? When the man was started bringing out the corrupt PDP members who have embezzled the country, the money of this country, who have eaten the money up, nobody is asking, nobody is giving him a kudo for doing that. I'm so happy that you know more than many people that even here. And they don't read, they don't know, they will not read, they will not read it on news, they will not even put on Google to just read something that's happening about their country. All they do about is just to speak out of rumor, out of guessing. I am so happy that somebody is saying the truth. And no matter what anybody is asking you, maybe insulting through their question, I'm very sorry. And I believe that your stand on this matter is absolutely right. Thank you very much, sir.
Wow, Israel, you surprised me. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. So, well, DSA, the time is up, and well, I don't know how 1 hour goes like really, really fast on this show, but it's understandable because I mean it's DSA, it's DSA, and well, guys, thank you so much for being with us. This is Ask Dr. Sandey show, and we have this show fortnightly. So what that means is that you can join us in 2 weeks for another episode on the Ask Dr. Sandey show. We come live Saturdays fortnightly, that is by 2 p.m. Ukraine time, 12 noon UK time, and that's 1 p.m. Nigerian time and European time. So thank you guys, thank you so much, our dear friends, our viewers on Facebook and YouTube for being with us today. There are still more questions, and you can keep your questions coming. So if you have a question, you can write it on the comment section by typing letter Q and asking Dr. Sandey your questions. And if you would like to send your questions to the blog, you could do that by going to sundayadelajablog.com/ask. sundayadelajablog.com/ask to send in your questions. Well, from me, I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Sandey for today's episode, and for the answers that you gave, and for the people who have these questions, for sending in your question that evoked these answers for today. I'm grateful. So please, guys, keep your question coming. We need more questions like this. We need more questions that will give light, that will give understanding, and that will make things clear to help people. I love what Dr. Sandey always says when he writes his article, and he ends it with, for the love of God, for the love of church, for the love of God, and for the love of the nation. So everything that is happening here is for this, is for the church, for the people, for the nation, and for God. So guys, thank you so much for being with us today, and we are bringing it to a wrap. If you've not shared this link, I'm sure you know that this is the kind of video that you want to share. This is the kind of video you want to share everywhere. Share everywhere. Everywhere you can share it. Please go ahead and share. Like we always say, share. Well, my name is Anu Ojo, and I'm your host on this show, Ask Dr. Sandey Show. At this point, I would like to give it to Dr. Sandey to give his final words and to call it a day. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would just like to remind everybody that we have History Makers training coming up next 2 months. in Ukraine in April, from the 2nd to the 7th of April. February, yeah. So February 2nd to 7th. If you have not yet registered, go register now. You might be able to save some money. From February 2nd to 7th, you could come earlier, you could stay longer, but go to sundayadelajablog.com/hmt, or you could just write to hmt@godembassy.org. To get my books, you can read them for free on Kindle Unlimited, or you could buy them on Amazon. Or if you want to buy many, you could write to my office by writing to dssbooks@gmail.com. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Peace.